Okay, I think we need a little update in the war in Ukraine. Okay, so this is currently how the front lines look. Financial Times. The bit that's interesting here is reported partisan activity. You don't hear anything about this, but the major cities in the south, you can see, have got partisan activity here, here, here. So I suppose the joy of this is when, if the Ukrainians were to enter these territories, they'd be treated as liberators, so therefore these areas will be significantly easier to capture. I mean, one of the most difficult things in combat in the modern age is taking those major urban metropolitan regions. And I suppose if you treat it as liberators, if you arrive, it's going to make it a lot easier to contain these specific regions. So this was the prediction. During winter, being the temperatures are so unbelievably low in Ukraine, that there wasn't going to be a lot of frontline activity. It just makes it very difficult to instigate an offensive when the temperatures are so unbelievably cold. But there's planned rumors of a Russian offensive as they build up conscription numbers and then a counterattack. A lot of talk about attacking from Belarus again, surprisingly. Maybe that's rumors to try and make the Ukrainian divisions move further north, maybe, potentially. Maybe it's a red herring, who knows? So this was kind of interesting. So Russian blames missile attack on soldiers' mobile phone use. So the short story is there were 400 Russian soldiers killed and another further 300 wounded in the Donetsk area. So it's round about here. And it was missiles fired from Ukraine. These were American-made rocket systems, so I presume they were. Let's have a actually look what this rocket system even looks like. Oh, it's one of these babies. So this is like a medium-range missile, this, isn't it? Let's have a look. What's the range on this? So these were developed in the 1990s. Used in Afghanistan, Syria, Iraq. I remember you could build these in Command & Conquer, the very first game, and they were only really effective against infantry, and they weren't like super long range. They were like really short-range missile launchers. Russia said the new missile attack has killed at least 89 Russian soldiers happened because the troops were using their mobile phones. Using banned phones allowed the enemy to locate its targets, officials said, and investigation has already begun. This is the largest number of deaths the Russians have acknowledged in the war. Russians said at 1 minute past New Year, 6 rockets were fired from the US-made HIMARS rocket system. Oof, man, that's a really interesting time to launch these missiles, isn't it? Right after New Year's celebrations. So the question would be were these Russian soldiers using mobile phones to make text messages and calls to their loved ones in Russia at that exact time due to it being New Year? Wow. That's pretty dark, but hey, welcome to war, I guess. If there's an opportunity for the enemy to give away their position, that's an opportunity for a missile strike, isn't it? An artillery strike. So this was the location of where the missile hit here, and this was it on the 3rd of January because it's completely flattened. At the end of the day, if you are Lend-Lease these rocket systems, you are going to find any opportunity to launch them at the most advantageous situation, aren't you? And that's perfect opportunity. If they're using mobile phones, and they shouldn't be using them on the front line, they're going to pinpoint their exact location to get hit with missile strikes, which they shouldn't be doing. Germany's looking for further ways to help Ukraine protect its people and infrastructure. The German foreign minister said on Wednesday, stressing that any dip in Europeans' resolve on the issue will be seen as a boon to Moscow. I think what we can summarize about this war at the moment is it's nowhere near its end, is it? With the constant new equipment rolling into Ukraine, the Ukrainian morale is going to be an all-time high. And then I suppose it shows from Putin's perspective, if we're going to mobilize more troops, we're going to continue the war and continue the offensive. At the moment, it's a stalemate when it comes down to negotiations because no one is going to move an absolute inch. One of the additional factors of the inflation crisis that most of the Western world is having right now is due to this war. Now, there are other factors, don't get me wrong, but because of this specific war and the limited oil that's reaching Europe that would have come from Russia, it's caused oil prices to surge, and therefore, to top that off as well, it's caused the inflation. Well, to be fair, fuel, just full stop, is used for every kind of mechanic of a Western economy, isn't it, really? Like how you move goods and services back and forth, transporting of food, tractors running, for instance. So if you increase the cost of fuel, you're increasing the cost of everything. Hence the reason why inflation is becoming such a big issue at the moment. It's a difficult situation to be in, really. Do you be Chamberlain and you basically do the appeasement strategy? We give them the land bridge for Putin, but then I suppose Putin's going to ask for more and more and more and more. So if they do go down the appeasement route, which obviously from history tells us they're not going to do that, it's going to put them in a situation where the Baltics will become exposed, Finland potentially exposed, Moldova potentially exposed. So it's really not a path that the European powers, NATO, as well as the EU ever really want to go down. So as things currently stand at the moment, they're going to keep supplying arms to Ukraine to be a buffer against Russia. It's really sad to be Ukrainian at this point, though, isn't it, really? Because you literally live in the buffer zone, which sucks. I wonder if there's going to be a period when there's going to be an offensive in summer, which is guaranteed to happen. Whether if it stalls, which at the moment, with the way the front lines are looking, it's likely to stall. In those circumstances, would that result in Putin becoming more desperate, for instance? I know there's always been that rumor up in the air of tactical nuclear weapons being used, but the honest truth is Russia would never do that, because then it would cut off its relationships with its biggest allies, for instance, like China. You know, one thing I saw recently that was really interesting, that also was really terrifying at the same way, how Putin is pro-global warming. The idea behind it is that if more of the North Arctic melts, there'll be access for their North Sea fleet to go across the northern part of Russia, and they won't have to rely as much on ports, for instance. I could be wrong about this. Correct me in the comments, guys, but they're only able to go around the north of Russia and through the Arctic in summertime. In wintertime, it's all blocked off with ice. So in a global warming situation, this would have access, and they could exercise their naval supremacy in this region. There's not a lot else to talk about in the Ukrainian situation. Let's have a little look at other stuff that could be in the news. Okay, I think we should talk about Andrew Tate. Let's be done. Let's talk about the Tatester himself. You know, one thing I realized with Andrew Tate is how his audience, the guys who are most passionate about Tate, are really young. And I got a few of those guys in my Discord recently, and I realized that these guys were little squeaky voicey guys. I was like, whoa, you guys are really young. And I would have thought the guys that would be more into Tate would have been a little bit older, like maybe in their 20s, maybe. But like it seems to be lower end of teens that seem to obsess about him a little bit, which surprised me.
If your girl starts acting up, go and her friend.
Boom in her face, and grip her up by the neck. But shut up!
Not kind of quite clear whether he's worth as much as he boasts about. He is very much a sort of product of the times and his generation.
The Matrix has attacked me.
He is the most Googled man in the world, but no one seems to know much about him. Influencer Andrew Tate was arrested in Romania with his...
This bit that I don't really quite understand. So he moves to Romania because apparently he says that the West has been corrupted. And I want to live in Romania because the Western part is corrupted and we're all SJWs and libtards. Fair enough. But then he gets arrested in Romania. So now, as it spread to Romania now, and now the Matrix exists in Romania, I know I just don't quite understand this concept.
His so-called Tate's Angels girlfriend Georgiana Nagel and glamorous former cop Luana Radu, along with his kickboxer brother Tristan.
You know what's really surprising as well is that I feel like Andrew Tate talks about women quite frequently, but I feel like in all the videos I've seen with Tate, I've never actually seen him next to a woman.
Heavily armed police broke down the door of his compound in Bucharest on Thursday night as part of a human investigation. Mail Online has spent years tracking the activities of Tate and talking to his relatives, but many questions remain. Here's everything we know. Tate currently has a huge following among teenage boys and young men and charges them for lessons on success and how to make money. As the self-declared king of toxic masculinity, he preaches that men should be rich, strong, and have many sexual conquests, all delivered against a backdrop of props including private jets and supercars. And despite being banned from most social media, his message spread like wildfire last year, with fans reposting his videos.
You know, there's a lot of like rumors of Tate that it's hard to follow. Like, for instance, I did read somewhere that apparently, I'm not sure if he was a fan or he converted to Islam. I lose track of all the stuff he says.
1 billion views.
And there's a lot of clickbait stuff online, so it's difficult to know what's true and what isn't.
Cash through his Hustlers Academy, an online school offering get-rich-quick lessons that cost £39 a month. It has more than 100,000 members and offers classes in cryptocurrency trading.
Hang on, 160,000. Let's have a look. 160,000 times 39, right? Okay, all right, okay. We're getting some big numbers now, okay. Damn.
It has more than 100,000 members and offers classes in cryptocurrency trading and marketing, with an option for a $4,000 a year elite membership. However, critics have slammed it simply as a pyramid scheme. Before the Hustlers Academy, little is known about how Tate
this is a pyramid scheme because he's using this platform to promote more people to join Hustlers University, and you get like commission for it. It's like an affiliate program.
He and his brother had a pornographic webcam business in their hometown of Luton since 2012. After he moved to Romania in 2017, he set up a number of darker businesses, including casinos and another webcam operation that is at the center of this police investigation. Tristan Tate has openly described the webcam business as a scam in which young women dupe men into handing over money.
Andrew Tate claims to be a sort of self-made rags to riches trillionaire, as he claims, and says that he's worth sort of more than £100 million, and he has 4.3
So the little
million
backstory to the little Andrew Tate drama at the moment. Oh, this was the tweet here. Hello, Greta Thunberg. I have 33 cars. Nice cars, but lovely, great. You're rich, I get that. This is just a start. Please provide your email address so I can send a complete list of my car collection and the retrospective enormous emissions. So if you're not aware, Greta Thunberg is like an environmentalist, climate change awareness person, I guess, protester. And of course, heavy cars, lots of emissions, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea, right? So this is Greta's reply. Please do enlighten me. Email me at smallenergy@getalife.com. And then he follows up with a reply where he posts this pizza box. The way the narrative is that everyone's going with is that they knew and confirmed he was in Romania from this pizza box, basically. And then at that point, not long after that, he was raided by the police. But the honest truth is, this investigation against Andrew Tate has probably been going on for months. And that's why we're all talking about Tate at the moment. Tate seems to come in waves, isn't it? Like initially he got really big at the start of last year. Then he got banned from all social networks. He shot up in fame so massively. And then all of a sudden, we're kind of talking about him again due to this pizza box thing, as well as the him getting unbanned from Twitter as well. This is it. Romanian authorities seize Andrew Tate's car collection as investigation continues. Wonder why they need access to his cars. Oh my god, this guy's younger than me by a year. Oh my god, boys. That's why I need to launch Feedback Gaming University. Yeah, I don't really want to speculate too much about the charges against Tate, because at the end of the day, it's in the hands of the authorities, isn't it? It's funny because everyone makes memes about Romania being corrupt. So it's interesting to see how this case unfolds. Tate is unbelievably rich. Surely if corruption was a big deal in Romania, I know that if I had Ludi on the call right now, he'd agree with me. He could somehow buy his way out of this, but there's probably pressure from other European countries in the EU to continue with these charges, I would assume. Guys, is there any news stories you'd like me to cover, let me to talk about, get my opinions about? Let me know in the comments below. Apart from that, don't forget to like and subscribe, and this is the next video. Give this one a click. Click it now.